will be a tiebreaker. We'll wait and see what that's for. We'll inform you guys as we go. But for Flash Wolves, definitely a very simple equation. And they're simply not interested in playing against the Jace, once again from Zeros.
Seems to make sense. So again, expecting quite a lot of attention there, actually, as we heard the desk just talk about how top lane is the lane that Fengvu Buffalo are likely to attack, although there is a Nocturne ban taking away from the sub-jungler here from Fengvu Buffalo.
Suhao coming in for Meliodas was kind of run around in the previous game. It was all about Nocturne's playmaking, and the Xin Zhao couldn't find much of a lead. Looking at his picks, specifically in Summer, he's definitely played a bit of Spring, a bit of Summer. Big takeaways are Nocturne Kindred, so definitely looking for the skirmishing junglers and the potential all-in of the Nocturne. So I think Nocturne has been much more reliable than we initially expected at Worlds 2018. One of the reasons for that might be a lot of tanks, and then a carry, the ability to just take down a carry with the Nocturne ultimate makes you get such high value. That's a wonderful trade, jungler for AD carry in a tournament like this. But zooming in on this particular game, when it comes to counter strategies, keeping Sword Art away from Comfort has been also the big talk of today.
It's actually losing 3 supports overall with Rakan ban on their side as well. Urgot, though, will get taken away, so that does leave Aatrox open, although as we've seen, Hanabi hasn't really gone to a lot of those carry picks this go-round. But Akali has been left up again. We already heard from Maple. His team says, Maple, please carry us on an assassin. Maple will oblige as they first pick Akali.
And you have to hope that Hanabi will be able to channel some of his carry play that we saw at MSI if necessary, if they really get to the point where it makes sense to run the top lane Akali. It's so much stronger if you have the option. You think of RNG, even though Let Me traditionally a tank player. He also plays the top lane Akali, and it gives you options, and options on the blue side. And options on the red side are different beasts. On the blue side, you're looking for anything you can get. On the red side, kind of predictable with Aatrox open. Aatrox will be snapped up for the side of Fengvu Buffalo.
Certainly a strong champion, and again, they look to their star Zeros to let them leave the tournament on a high note. We'll see what the next pick is here, though, for PVB. 10 seconds to line this one up. And there's Camille.
Going to be taken again, flex pick on the red side here. But definitely be from the jungle when it comes to Suha in the summer season. No sign of the Camille, but it does fit in with his general playstyle and champion pool, so definitely the off chance we see it going there. Could be mid lane Aatrox versus mid lane Akali. Very, very possible. So the sweet spot a little bit easier to find when you are in that shroud. But we'll see if Flash Wolves are going to continue with their trend of bot lane focus, or if they're going to go a bit more like they did against G2, where Maple was less on a facilitator and more on a hard carry. The Shen doesn't give us too much conclusive information. The Scion may finally go through a draft that Flash Wolves is in.
That's true, actually. Shen and maybe Olaf going to be the picks here by the looks of things. Mugen has taken some sort of, aggressive, high-tempo jungler early in almost every game. Tilly has been the standout for him for me, but Olaf certainly a serviceable pick as well, so will be the selection here.
Could look to double ban and pick up a carry lane on the red side. No 80 carries taken yet in the first round. I think what Fengvu Buffalo want to do is support is also something that's been so heavily pinched that you're worried there might be nothing left if you don't take one in the first round, but they do go the route of picking another solo lane, so I feel like we do know exactly. It feels like they're picking for themselves.
Yeah, actually.
On the red side, it's going to be Galio, ostensibly against the Akali. We're waiting for more information on that. So bot lane is what Fengvu Buffalo seem to want in the second round. We'll see where the bans are going to go, because there's a bit more flexibility on the side of Flash Wolves.
Certainly seen Flash Wolves lean on Betty a lot so far in the tournament. I guess Maple's recent last game on Akali being one of the differences there. So Varus will be the first ban away in Phase 2. By the Buffalo, and maybe I expect Kai'Sa to join the ranks there as well, but we'll see what Flash Wolves are thinking of targeting, as by the looks of things, they will also have to start throwing bans towards bot lane.
Xayah available, and that, of course, has been the go-to 80 carry of Worlds 2018. We'll see how much into the weeds Flash Wolves are willing to ban, and you notice they do not opt into 80 carry bans as well for fear of Betty being relegated onto something that's a tertiary 80 carry in the current meta, and take away the Thresh as the first ban here on blue side. Wait and see if Fengvu Buffalo double down. Again, the Xayah looming as the very obvious choice for Big Koro.
This feels like a safety ban from Flash Wolves, like just banning playmaking away so nothing bad can happen, as they actually will ban the Xayah here. Despite getting first pick out of this phase, really attacking Betty here.
Do wonder where they'll fall back to. Something like a Tristana has been seen from time to time. The Sivir makes a lot of sense for a team that's largely melee engaged champions, but will be something you want to pick last. Let's wait and see what Fengvu Buffalo want to do. We've seen one Sivir blind pick so far this tournament, not something I expected when looking at the meta coming into patch 8.19. Bit of discussion here, seeing Zeros on the screen, trying to talk about the direction they want to go in. And the Kai'Sa, which has some synergy, but has started to fall away. Even RNG passing up Kai'Sa when available. Will be locked in after all. Seems like someone, though, will jump onto the Sivir hype train.
Betty's like, all right, it worked last time. I guess we'll run it again. Again, the insurance policy that Sivir offers, even when the games get really hectic, is something that I think Flashworlds are just saying, you know what? We just need to play safe, consistent League of Legends. We just need to win, because that's the ticket out of groups if we can pick it up. And there's the Sion you missed so dearly.
There has to be a Sion picked and banned in every Flash Wolves game. Don't stop with it now. Lock it in, Flash Wolves. This is, of course, their reliable choice, going to be launched in by the Sivir. Sivir, a big friend of Olaf, Sion, and Shen, that's for sure. In a comp like this, when we were coming into the LCK Grand Final and we were talking about Kai'Sa, people had so many pocket picks that worked into Kai'Sa. People would say the Jinx, people would say the Twitch, but the Sivir was one that's discussed and one that we're seeing more and more. Can definitely pressure the Kai'Sa very extensively in lane and ensure you take the turret down early enough that you never get those 2-item Kai'Sas running around the rift.
And looks like Pallet will revisit the Gragas support once again here.
Bold after the last game.
See if he can look to make some improvements. But again, certainly a strong, decent pick we have been seeing all around the rift. So Fengfu Buffalo keeping things pretty standard, actually, just sticking to their practice more than anything else.
Mostly a team fight draft, but Zeros could still take over the game with enough items on the Aatrox in the side lane. Waiting to see where the Akali and the Sion will be going. I imagine Hanabi will just be staying onto the Sion. That's just been the look of Flash Wolves in the summer season, moving into specifically the second half of the season and Worlds 2018. It's all locked in. Akali happy to farm it out against the Galio. But it's going to be very much the same style from Flash Wolves. Yes, they do have more carry threat in the mid lane, but where possible, they're going to pack up and try to double down on Betty's lane.
It makes sense. This is probably the worst time to get crazy if you're Flash Wolves. Again, this is the game that ices you your ticket into groups. Your seed will have to be determined later at the end of the day, but if you win, you know you are guaranteed a spot in a quarterfinal. So they're basically running back to the comp they just played against G2 with some tweaks here and there. I think just, again, wanting to play stable league and I guess do what they can once this game is over to either finish off the group somewhere out of it.
Again, they've got control, right? They're all about the victory here against a hapless Fengfu Buffalo. You look at the comp, though, Akali really wants a lot of squishy members to dive through. Had that in some of the previous games today. There is a huge meat wall in front of the Kai'Sa, who's pretty elusive at the best of times. I'm going to look to Maple to really double down on that carry performance, though, and put in a big game.
And we've certainly seen some aggression that can be put towards the mid lane. Galio, not great at killing people 1v1, but very good at setting someone else up to kill in any sort of 2v1 or gank situation. So certainly looking for PVB sub-junglers, Suha to kind of make noise early on in Camille. She is one of the best aggressive early ganking junglers. So I would not be surprised if a level 2 gank happened. I think Maple probably aware of that as well.
And my eyes are on the bot lane, specifically on Pallet, who had a really down game on the Gragas. Confidently locks it in, had final overall pick, and went the way of the support Gragas that kind of becoming a trap this tournament. I believe 10-20 the win rate, so 10 wins, 20 losses for Gragas in general. And the support role is kind of the least explored because it's more of a recent adaptation to the meta. Just wants to be a bit more on point this game and not give over those 2v2 kills that did dog the duo lane in the previous game.
Yeah, and I think the likes of Betty and Sorta, especially with this sort of lane, Sivir Shen does not scream aggressive 2v2 lane to me. So I think Betty will be happy to farm it out if indeed that's where we are.
It's definitely a bit of a wait a while lane. I'm from Western Australia, so I know all about waiting a while. Sivir, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, fantastic. Shen in lane is a taunt and not much more. But you could levy kind of the same thing to the Gragas, who, yes, does have the barrel to have a little bit of lane effect, but largely is very much about the body slam. So we'll see if it ends up being the nameplates or the champions that dictate the bottom lane. That's going to be a bit of a hard leash here from Zeros, as Juhao just wants to have more of an impact on the early game than Meliodas was able to in the previous game.
Hello, Maple.
That's not your lane.
Not the lane he usually plays. He is currently hanging out top lane.
Well, this is
so
different.
it was top Akali.
Top Akali, and it seems like Hanabi just not willing to play the champion at all. It means we do get Glacial Augment Sion in mid lane, and Juhao's trying to punish Maple before he even has Shroud.
Yeah, here's the Camille gate that we expected. Maple is going to take a lot of damage, and he's dead. That's first blood. subs in for his first game of Worlds and picks up the first kill.
Pastry time, we have it official. Science has gone too far as Maple goes to top side. Visit on his usual scenarios. Usually he's happy to just farm out the level 2. It doesn't come, and sheepishly has to teleport back in. Sort of thing you do not expect, but nice little innovative path. They knew it was a red side start because Zeros was so slow to lane, but did not expect the double hook shot gank. First to get over the Baron wall, second to find Maple. Maple no answer. Lovely kill for the side of PVB.
Such a clean pickup there, as Maple does TP instantly back to lane to try and get a little bit more traction. So that means we can ignore the mid lane entirely. Null and Hanabi will be farming out as much as they can on their 2 tanks. And Pallet did get aggressive here in the bot side. Big Koro actually up pretty healthily in CS right now, and Pallet's going to zone the 2 off the wave, so they're going to deny what they can here, although the cannon is chewing through a lot of this here.
Scoreboard's offset. Page time. What do we do? What do we do? That's
Try not to panic and read the CS numbers calmly.
Okay, deep breaths of it. Okay, as Glacier augments side, going to be just fine, obviously, into the Galio. Going to be a very comfortable lane for Hanabi, who definitely had his time on mid lane-esque champions. Loved, of course, the Assassins back in the day. He's going to happily be wave clearing for now.
It's a far cry from this, unfortunately, for him. But Sion is the pick. And again, Flashal's keeping their safety as Mujin does pokey set up towards the top lane, looking to maybe assist Maple with Zeros, but for now he'll take down those Krugs as TP in. Not going to get knocked up, but channels that taunt to make sure he doesn't take too much damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to see an uninteractive lane, definitely lock that cam on the mid lane.
If you want to see a gank in top side though, here's Maple and Mujin versus Zeros, who has no flash. He's going to get flashed on, and Maple picks up a needed counter kill.
Really important, that even though the kill credit does go the way of Akali, very important there. Even though teleports up from Zeros, you need that sort of a stabilizer, both in terms of momentum for Flash Wars in this must-win game, but also in terms of where the lane is at. No big purchase. Is going to be a Kindle Gem to start towards the Black Cleaver here for Zeros. The bot lane, a lot of posturing, but no all-ins from Pallet just yet.
Yeah, Pallet again just threatening here. Kind of tough to kill. Ooh, barely misses that body slam. Sort up, misses that taunt clean though. Reddy tries to trade back with the Boomerang Blade, but not too much to play for as Mujin back towards the top half. Gonna run into Camille though here. Who's gonna blink first? It is Mujin, but here's Suhao right behind. Hook shots in, gets a stun, flashes for it, and that's Mujin taking a little too much damage. No flash, that means no hope.
And man, Suhao coming in cold. No stage games till now, but damn is he coming in hot in the actual video game. Very nice flash there, held onto it the first time. He was spotted onto the Ghost Power that was put down earlier by Mujin, but Mujin probably not expecting just how much bravado Suhao was going to show, because Camille, no hesitation, they pick up another kill in a very bloody top lane 2v2.
Again, Mujin, no flash, so he's not getting out of that one. Easy pick up there for the Camille, who's looking good for the early engages. Bikoro a little low here. Taunt is gonna get stopped by Pallet, who does body slam at the right time, and Betty gets some mana back. But Bikoro is going back to base anyways.
Very important standard laning interaction. Taunt does get interrupted by body slam. It also gives aftershock to the Gragas. Now, at pre-level 6, there's not really any more the Gragas can do, but there's a lot of tricky interrupts into cask plays that can happen later. So something to look forward to for the viewers, as Hanabi going back to his usual lane, but probably this time for a gank.
Yeah, natural habitat here. Null is 6 as well, but he's of course going to leave his lane late. As there's the body slam, hits Betty. Jiho over the top is going to try and make something happen, but only level 5 here for the Camille. And the taunt from Shen is going to call off the play.
I would assume that was something to do with Spell Shield being down, but Pallet actually uses Flash to try to make that play happen, only able to draw out a heal on the side there. Suhao's here, and so far where he's gone, good things have happened.
Tactical sweep. Looks for Betty, doesn't quite find the angle, but here comes Null. Betty is going to Spell Shield that knockup critically, as the body slam does find 2. Sword out low though. That's another kill. Big Koro this time, the big winner in the play.
Bold play, but the backup is there from Null. Things going from bad to worse for the side of Flash Wolves after the early game seemed to be forgiving. The lane swap is now back. Finally, we can look at the scoreboard and be more confident with the lanes. Seems like they just wanted to have Sion around the mid lane for the crucial early levels. They get the Hex Tech now onto the Akali. She has the revolver, but the roam was always going to be inevitable from Null. Now, the mini stun effect is there for the Akalis who can interact with that Galio ultimate. Watching the replay here, the timings on the side of PVB was super clean.
certainly were. That double knockback was good, and then Nor plays clean up on the end of that play. Again, really effective on this Galio. This was the kind of productivity we wanted to see more of in the last game, but he didn't really get to leave his lane because Kuro was always pressuring. This time around, leaves the lane, gets a clean kill, and again, this Camille jungle working a treat so far for the Fengbu Buffalo.
Definitely hitting the maximum a few times in a row. Mujin's here, though, for the counter game palette.
No ulti, that's going to be a flash taunt there for Sword Art, and he's going to get run down by the Olaf in Ragnarok.
Taunt flash missed, but no problem in that regard. What about a secondary kill, though? It's level 5 here, and here comes Hanabi.
He's got flash, but he's got no ulti. 1v4 under his own turret. Big Koro not getting out of that one. Betty gets the kill.
This time the Galio ult not there. Hanabi has to flash away from the final turret shot that might have taken him down. All Nor can do is pick up the minion wave. Had no way to get down to bot lane fast enough. But definitely at a tied ball game in terms of kills. It just feels like teams taking one swing and then the counter swing coming in overall means about a 700 gold lead for Fengbu Buffalo.
Yeah, still leaning on those early plays that they did manage to collect. As Camille will actually sweep the whole wave up there. Gallery going to be pretty late back there. Actually, Null's continuing to lane bot lane, so just wanting to push that lane and getting it going in the other direction. Now going to pull the wave. Make sure Kai'Sa can swoop back in and pick up those CS.
Yeah, the big thing there was holding the wave rather than looking for a push to guarantee that Kai'Sa picks up as much farm as possible. Pallet checks with his face, but going to be able to clear out a control ward. Will we get a state of normalcy, or will this just be another insanely bloody game? After the previous game, I'm ready for kill him in action wherever possible.
Have to agree, and I think given how the Camille has gone, whenever you see the two ultimate dots lit up for both Suhao and Null, expect something to happen for the Fengbu Buffalo. And of course, in the meanwhile, Seros doing decently. Again, can't really crack Hanabi with that early armor purchase, but will maybe get things going if either the jungler is able to influence the lane or if the lane gets a little bit more developed.
And if MVP was called pre-10 minutes, I think Suhao wins it in a landslide. He's actually been able to stay 3.5 camps ahead, and he has kill involvement in all the kills so far for his team, which is immaculate for the Camille. Again, in the LCK, I'm so used to there being just a slow early game and Camille gets outscaled. It's on half a Trinity Force while the game ends at 25 minutes. But in a game like this, Tiamat already done. The gold lead's not massive, but 350 is one you'll accept, as Mujin has also been very maneuverable around the map. The Camille's back. The Galio ult is up. Will we see a play here? Because Mujin's there for the counter game.
Yeah, he is covering here. Pal also needs level 6 to maybe make things a little bit better. But doesn't get it quite yet. And little stubs of experience as that's Camille sneaking into that brush.
Knows there is a ward in the more advanced brush, so hasn't gone to face check that. I think everyone has the memo, and there is, of course, a little ward near the Drake that will signal the Galio walking towards.
There he is.
The Camille.
Betty, oh, barely gonna miss the stun, but the ult from Camille still good. That's a body slam into the killer instinct. And Betty gonna get shredded down. He does die, but it's a little late as Suhao will have to give his life. Big Koro, though, does get a kill on the way out to his death. As now Zeros TPing back down to the bot side. Gonna try and get something happen. Mujin gets knocked back. The chains are good. The shutdown gold there for the Aatrox. And now Maple maybe gonna get dove under the turret. Worldender still ticking away. But Zeros has to back off as the ulti kicks off.
And the timing is so key. Look at Hanabi's teleport about 20 seconds away as the fight started. 3-man unit, but all melee champions. They don't want to be too crazy here.
Maple trying to make a play, has perfect execution number 2, up and ready to go, flash, execute, gets it, and rides all the way back to the Shroud.
Clean as you can like from Maple because of the ward and the brush. He was licking his lips and thinking, there's a big play to come here. Yes, it does draw away the Stand United, but those are sort of moments that you need, and he is the leader of this Fast Wolves team.
Certainly is, as Noel's going to make his way back towards the mid lane. Here comes Sion, going to try and steal the grab. Camille says, get me out of here. He's going to get knocked up. Betty going to chase in. Good Q. Needs the hookshot if he has it, but is just going to sweep things away. Finally gets over the wall, and that corrupting potion is not quite enough to pick up Camille.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, pop your potions. You can see the 2-stack now. Just a single would have gone down about 30 HP as he got over the wall. So important there. The Suhao to not give away any more kills, any more momentum. This game is up in the air to be decided. The 1,000 gold lead is by far not going to be enough to decide anything. Ward Mujin away from the Rift Herald. They have actually started a lane swap here. No turrets down anywhere at 12 minutes, but with the Rage Blade completed, and Big Koro having both his summoners up. They are trying to attack the top lane of PVB.
A lot of swapping around here. Zeros actually in mid lane for now. Is fending off the duo lane of Flash Wolves, as it seems like maybe the teams are putting more priority on this Rift Herald here, especially with first up still up. Sword Art gonna get knocked around into the house, and does put up the Spirit's Refuge with Zeros here to clean up the kill. It is Camille that gets it instead, continuing the streak of 100% kill participation in this game.
Definitely a bit bold to face check there as a support Shen. With his summoners up, thought he was fine, but by the end understood no real escape gonna happen against the trio of threats that were there. In the meantime, Big Koro just gonna get turret damage. Sion has already given up on this. Hanabi understands he has nowhere near the safety to make a play like this, but the Bonanza's here. They'll get a turret, they'll get a kill, and they're on the Rift Herald. That is a trio of big objectives for the side of PVB.
You have to assume that Herald likely leading to a second turret as well. So this gold lead actually building very substantially for PVB. As it stands now, they're 2,500 gold ahead. Mugen does get the Cloud Drake for his team, so that's the consolation prize for Flash Wolves, but Maple gonna have to try and make yet another play. Here he is, Big Koro. Gets that Gunblade shot down. Oh my goodness, the chunk. And nothing Kaiser can do there.
That is what we call the overstay, as he could have just taken the turret and backed with his team. Solo pushing is never advisable, even if you are the Kai'Sa. Akali takes down the AD carry very quickly, and Akali does loom as the big win condition here. We already identified in Champion Select. Teamfight's not going to be her playground unless you can make a late entry. But in a side lane situation like this, Maple finds Big Koro, and the death was always assured.
Certainly was, and this is indeed why it's our ASAP Predator replay. Maple starting to build a highlight reel for himself with the kill down in bot lane earlier on, and now the solo pick off there on the overstaying Kai'Sa. Again, Flashwell's looking to their star to carry, and he has not been doing that. You mentioned this before we cast these games, Papa, but before the two Akala games, he was resolve every single game on some sort of tanky utility style champion. Not the Zed LeBlanc Akali player that I maybe expected here in the tournament.
It's the reality, the first seeds have had to adapt. Speaking of adaptation, we've got a lot of action going on.
3v1, Zeros gonna find himself in a troublesome spot as Betty is swooping in perhaps for a bit of extra kill security, but you're not gonna really need it. Zeros will dance his way out towards the turret, but eventually will get picked off as Maple got another solo kill on the Kai'Sa.
Just seems too easy from the side of Flash Wolves getting kills across the map. The Rift Herald will draw members of Flash Wolves to mid lane, but much later after the damage has already been done. This game is certainly tending towards Flash Wolves as Maple is still on the charge. Ultimate may be down, but here comes the rest of the team.
Yep, flips over the top. Now gonna look for Su Hao. Continuing to do the damage, needs a little bit more. The ulti doesn't save him as Betty able to get the kill. And they're still going. Mugen in the Ragnarok. He's gonna chunk down Null. It's a battle of his health pool versus yours, and I think all that's winning. Mugen, he's able to get the kill as Betty dives in under the turret and gets yet another kill for the Flash Wolves.
It's a delayed ace of 15 minutes pastry time as one by one the dominoes fell. They were cross-map dominoes at the start, but even afterwards, we see PVB walk up too far. Flash Wolves conga line come along. Sion in the front with the ultimate. Now that is such a big injection of gold. Still not to a gold lead, amusingly, because the map objectives are still Bongvu Buffalo dominated. But Bongvu Buffalo need to take a really deep breath right now, compose themselves, and ignore the fact that 5 kills in a row went to the side of Flash Wolves. And I see this replay, and it's very, very standard stuff. Nothing you can really do there. Does hold on to his flash, but this is the more fixable problem. This is just an overstay from the remaining members. There were only 3 on the map. They had very limited information as to where the enemy was, and you pop that level 1 ultimate, get that extra AD, you can see that with just a Rod of Ages, Null is far from tanking.
Yeah, and then Betty flashing in aggressively, emboldened perhaps by the performance of his mid laner. It does feel like Flash Wolves are feeling a bit more comfortable, feeling that, all right, we've got solid control of this game. Maple is running rampant across the entire Rift right now. Although Nor will be spared his life for the moment.
I mean, so important for Maple to be the one to truly roam around the map and find advantages for the side of Flash Wolves. He will want to do it in the 1. The 4-1 is the most kind to Flash Wolves in this game because of the problems with execution in a team fight. Takes a bit of trade damage here. Galio, very different opposition than the Kai'Sa he's feasted on a couple of times. The advantages in the 1 will be so important for Flash Wolves. For Fongfu Buffalo, very much walk with a friend whenever Akali is afoot.
Well, Hanabi and Zeros fighting it out, but Hanabi is trying to protect his turret for as long as he can. Does sweep out the minion waves there with the Decimate. As Betty onto Pallet, 3 levels ahead. Maybe fancies a go, but doesn't quite go for it just yet. Both these supports actually, despite traditionally being pretty tanky champions, have already fallen prey to the classic Ice Face Checker support and died when I thought I was a tanky boy.
Fongfu Buffalo today have already fallen short of closing out a game that was very strong early game for them. You subtract 5 kills and the gold lead would actually be measurable between Flash Wolves and Fongfu Buffalo. In this game state, the gold lead is much, much smaller. It's going to be a lot about Fongfu Buffalo relying on the fallback mechanics, which again were very strong in the VCS. They were very much the calm in the storm. But because of all the kills going down, can be very easy for those who communicated so easily when you were winning, just those gaps in communication being leapt upon by, in this instance, a boomerang bait from Betty, but largely Maple, who's already got the shutdown damage items much earlier than expected.
Looks like maybe Maple's thinking about a dive here onto Zeros, does tag him with the shuriken, but not going to walk back around. No real need right now. Flashwell's really just having to contend with the fact that they don't have any turrets taken more than anything else. That's pretty much the entire lead that PVB still retain. They had a slightly bigger lead earlier, but Flashwells have done a good job picking up their kills and kind of equalizing that, dissolving the gold lead that Fongfu Buffalo did hold.
Kind of amusing that the long lanes have actually baited people like Big Koro into overextending rather than being a way for Fongfu Buffalo to push up waves and thus make map plays that are trade down situations for Flash Wolves. The Flash Wolves will definitely have confidence in Betty's scaling. He's wave clearing up plenty here, 5 CS down, but importantly 3 kills in to his Sivir build. Watching the lane assignments for now, suiting the side of Fongfu Buffalo as they have to look to decide their next objective. There is a Cloud Drake spawning as we speak.
Yeah, and looks like Flash Wolves will move the way over. In fact, Betty wants to try and get a bigger period mid. A wonderful Psyonaut is going to force the flash from Kai'Sa. But Pallet is going to get knocked up and take a pretty significant chunk of damage. Although does body slam away to safety as Flash Wolves do want to threaten here.
Keep Big Co on a short leash. Cask is thrown out, but just to disengage mostly.
Yeah, moves Sword Art away, but he did pop the spell shield. But now that's actually a start here for Camille, potentially to go in for something. Suha, though, not that tanky and just dies in the front line. As Betty doing more than enough damage to get that pick off. TP cancelled there, so Zeros just going to keep pushing a top lane and again try and make some trades.
We saw the bestest Camille player earlier where he was able to get advantages in spades, but actually makes the Hextech ultimatum play before Galio is in range. Ends up just donating over a kill. The mid lane turret will be the first for the side of the Flash Wolves. The game plan slowly coming apart the seams as they try to find Zeros.
Yeah, Zeros does have his flash. Umbral dashes over the wall, flashes to the blast cone. Needs to auto it, can't quite find it. Instead, he's actually fighting out on top. Now has World under there, but Betty's collapsing. So Zeros cannot escape the situation. It is Betty at the end of it all that picks up the kill as well.
All the 1% plays are not working out for the side of Fongfu Buffalo. And that is another consecutive kill, around 8 so far in a row, I believe, to the side of Flash Wolves. They will get the final of the outer ring of turrets down. But will it be too little too late? Again, it's so weird to talk about this when there's still a gold lead for Fongfu Buffalo and the team composition scales so aptly with the Kai'Sa into the late game. But after the Rage Blade, Big Koro has died, I believe, 3 times in a row or had summoners blown. So it's never been able to keep up in terms of items. We'll go for a shot now, probably going to be working towards the Nationals Tooth, you'd imagine. But they are kind of at the whim of Flash Wolves in 5v5s in this scenario until a moment like this where Nationals Tooth is complete, because they need some bite behind the bark of the Galio, of the Camille initiation, and that needs to be Kai'Sa.
And again, I think from that point, it's all right. Now Big Koro is here. He's at least at a good jumping off point, so we can start maybe picking fights. But can they even find an engage they like when Flash Wolves are playing cross map or now just 5v5 so well? Sion again going to charge up, force Nor to blow the flash. And now Sword Art here for the follow-up. Righteous Glory pop, but again, just buying time here onto Null as Mujin will take the Drake. Turret will get pressured as Betty will finish that off. And Flash Wolves, they equalize the turrets almost, and they will actually take the gold lead.
All the way on that Sion freight train around the map. Very much just chasing for singular kills. Sion ult with Sivir ult. In the meantime, Zeros is going to be a side lane doing a lot of damage onto an inner turret. Won't be able to finish off just yet. Plenty of wave clear available for Maple. See the sense of Maple here. Knew that Camille was likely to be on top side, so not taking the assassin's path aggressively.
Yep, does not go in. said, Flash Wolves transfer the power from the right side to the left side and go ahead and set up around Baron. Pretty speedy with that second cloud they picked up just a few minutes ago as well. And Zeros is going to try and make it happen here. A lot of damage on the Hanabi, but that's going to be it. Really nice trade over the wall, but Sion is happy to walk away.
This is early in the game. Without being picked off a couple of times in a row, I think Big Koro would have looked for a ultimate there, but no killer instinct use. They didn't have vision.
Oof, pallet.
Walks up and doesn't know how close he was to interrupting that back.
Yeah, unfortunate, but again, not much he can do with the controller there in the shrubbery. So he'll just get some vision down here. PVB now trying to get their setup here around the Baron. If a team fight can be set up well, there is still anyone's game to play for, given where we are.
And in terms of kills, it doesn't feel that way, but what you guys need to remember is, in all the conga line ganks, CS lead for the side of PVB is, okay, Maple.
That was the first clean knock up there as the Killer Instinct's going to move in onto the Akali. Swordart going to try and swoop in for the save. Maple's out with the perfect execution, but Swordart already dead. That's a counter kill though, as Pallet does die on the front side. Betty able to get the kill now. Zeros forced to Umbral dash away. Maple not that healthy though, as Big Koro is trying to fight off the Sion. Here's the Galio. Big Koro is going to live, but I think that's a kill as Hanabi gets the Decimator and is able to pick up the Kai'Sa. And now Noah going to try and fight it out, but it's 1v3 versus the 5-kill Siva. And it's only counting as Betty gets yet another kill.
Hanabi able to absorb all the damage coming through of the Kai'Sa. She wasn't able to reposition after using the ult early in the exchange, and thus Flash Wolves clean up. They're just out executing on these team fights. One kill finally against the grain for the side of PVB, but Betty is completely unchecked in this fight, and out of nowhere is one kill short of 8.
Oh goodness, Betty is going to get jumped on here. The Zeros are already pretty low. That's more than enough damage. A good shutdown there for Zeros. Picks up 800 extra gold.
Such a surreal game. With 24 minutes in, we've had 23 kills. The shutdown there, really big on Siva actually as a Guardian Angel, if the shot was to be believed. Longvu Buffalo have been in a funk. They've been out of rhythm, and it's been all about Flash Wolves chasing for kills, making this into multiple skirmishes and 4v1s. The roaming gank squad has largely got them back into the game. We'll start a long while ago. We have to rewind the tape really far to look back onto this moment. Maple does not go down, as the taunt there was actually critical from Swordart. And as we watch the play here, notice that when Betty gets into the fight, purely able to choose targets wherever possible. Meanwhile, Big Koro from this point onwards can only hit Sion.
And it's not what you want to be hitting, as Akai said, still really needs to be building up those items.
And the team kites down, of course, after Kai'Sa had used everything in order to try to kill the Akali, so they can't have the sort of structure you assume with PVB's comp. You assume the fight is going to happen in the open with Camille Galio in the front line, Gragas helping you out, and Kai'Sa cleaning up in the back line. When you're swooping in with the killer instinct, it's much harder to recreate a front-to-back team fight. Very well executed by Flash Wolf.
And again, it is the man that's currently top lane pushing things away. Maple, there's really been kind of the start and the end of all these situations for the Flash Wolves, showing that he can still play the styles he was known for, which I think, again, as Flash Wolves look to win this game and push themselves to the quarters, is critical for a team that has shown, at times, a little too much narrowness in the approach to the game.
And it's tricky, Racer Time. It's really tricky to play Akali into comps like this because you need to create madness. You need to create non-typical situations, because otherwise, a lot of interruption CC is a combo ult trying to take down Zeros. He's going to get over the wall.
Yep, does get out. Does have to use his flash though, as he swoops back over the wall here. You can already see Maple, 2.5 items built up, is basically waiting for anyone to come meet him in a side lane. It's for him to pick up a kill, as Mujin camp in a pixel brush. He's going to make sure his controller is the only one there that stays up, although now that PVB are moving together, Pallet has some buddies this time. They'll be able to counter sweep that vision and retain some foothold here around the Baron pit.
And Zeros has just been playing in his lane. He may have died 4 times, but he's almost put together a 100 CS advantage, a Flame Horizon over the Sion. Here is Zeros against Maple. Maple's equal levels. He might just have the 1-for-1.
Yeah, Zeros no ulti, Maple no ult either, but Maple with a very clean shuriken flip setup. Unstoppable now as he solo kills the Aatrox.
Very nicely done by Maple. Questionable from Zeros to overstay. We knew his flash was down, his ult was down. His life bar joined that duo very swiftly. And now Flash was actually walking towards the Baron buff area. They were not able to get a setup around this area for the first 25 minutes of the game. this might be the open door for them to try to make PVB come to them.
Maple also roaming through the right-hand side, has a blue buff to steal, can maybe pick someone off, walking a silly way into the mid lane.
Will have his ultimate up very, very shortly, and that should be enough for basically anyone on Vongvu Buffalo to go down. Flash Rolls, nice structure here, leading with Sword Art and Hanabi. They got some good deep vision onto the enemy. Maple waits, and, well, the ultimate's down. That's the only reason that Shuhao is not dead.
Just saw a hook shot. As Maple, level 16, he's going to chase in, get some Qs down, shoots him. Does not get the flip, though, so Camille escapes this time.
Consider the map position, though. Finally, we're seeing a position where Flash Wolves are able to push up past the halfway point without a split push-up, forcing them to react. So it's going to be less about the pickoff plays and more about the grouping. Does mean the Ocean Drake is a freebie, and this is actually the third Drake of the game for Flash Wolves. The one objective that they've been able to pick up against the early plays that Vongvu Buffalo were able to make. There'll be one more spawn before the Elder Dragon's on the ring.
Flash Wolves might just try and cut PVB off here, as they did move back towards the Baron area, but they did have the speed try and still do, so able to hold vision of that area. See as Scry's Bloom go off, but not going to chase the Aatrox, who is going to be able to dash out safely through two walls.
And the itemization here from Flash Wolves is very intelligent. You don't often see Guardian Angel third item on a Sivir, because of course you want to get Infinity Edge in this scenario after Storm Razor and Rapid Fire Cannon, but the way that Vongvu Buffalo win this game is picking off a carry and then winning against a single threat and tanks. But looking at the carries, you see a Zone, you see a Guardian Angel ahead of schedule, and now it's much less clear where something like the Hextech Ultimatum into Galio combo should be used. And that is a pretty critical problem for the 4. We already see Akali can match Aatrox in the 1. So the way you actually improve your position is the 300 to 1,000 gold rate has been there for the majority of the past 10 minutes. It's actually fairly tricky from Vongvu Buffalo. They're going to be very much more about the vision control and look for someone to be very far out of position on the side of Flash Wolves. Critical problem is they're moving as 4 and 5 most of the time.
Yep, and at that point you kind of have to find a fight, either 4v4 or 5v5 if you can get it. But again, Flash Wolves being very diligent with their vision, with their setup, and actually going to go for a kill onto Pala once again, at the mercy of Betty, who picks up kill number 8 in this game.
Oh boy, unfortunate times for Gragas. He was left at the whims of his team and dies in half a second. Zeros and Maple brawling on the bot side, but Kali knows she can group. They're a 4-man, now 5-man unit. Going to be hitting onto these inner turrets ahead of schedule.
Yep, might as well force Zeros to move back with his team. Does have TP. Flash was probably trying to force it here, and they will be pretty quickly doing damage to this inhibitor turret if Zeros doesn't react, although he is recalling now. Will actually be forced to TP in, so Flash was happy to collect the summoner. Betty spell shields off a taunt there from Null, and they'll take it, one cooldown and walk away. Flash
Wolves' siege is abysmal. It's Sivir as the only ranged auto attacker, and thus they will quickly back away. But like you mentioned, with a kill, with a teleport, with some advantages, and that inner turret taken down, makes it a much longer map than it was moments ago. It was a 3-turret to 0 lead at the start of the game, you'll remember. Vongvu Buffalo, are we in just random all-in on the Baron territory? You seem to be right.
They didn't even kill the control ward first. They just waited. They're going to go straight in for it. Maple ready to TP in with a death cap, I believe. Straight into the red buff. As you can see, PVB will turn for the fight. They're onto Hanabi. Going to try and pick up the Scion. They're actually getting him pretty low. They should be able to get him here as Pal does get out of the way, but Maple, he snuck all the way back around the other side, and he wants to assassinate someone. He's hanging out in the Shroud. He's trying to zone them off. Pal looks for the play, but doesn't find it, and is now forced to flash away to safety. Maple just destroys the Gragas as he's dancing over walls, but Vongvu Buffalo, they actually re-engage. They get the flash onto Sword Art as they lock him into the Hextech Ultimatum. They force the Baron and they win the team fight.
Something that hasn't been possible the entire game because of how they were so split. They're together and Maple can only get the support and get out. He's looking for an interrupt though. Betty's here as well.
Yeah, Betty can actually kill them all, I think, if he gets in there. The Baron over to PVB, but Maple, he's dancing in the Shroud. He's buying all this time, and Betty, he just needs to clean up. He does finally fall to Big Koro. That's not a kill they want to give away. All of a sudden, the Kaiser picked up so much gold.
They just needed one frontliner to allow Betty to do his damage, but in this scenario, Maple can only buy so much time. They are able to get rid of a Baron buff onto the jungler. But all in all, we finally saw a preview of the team fights that were drafted for by Fengvu Buffalo, but they weren't able to actually put together. They square the map, they kill Hanabi first, too far ahead of his team, even though he is so tanky on this Scion. And for once, things fell into place for Fengvu Buffalo.
Yep, they actually reset the gold lead after this play here.
So they just run at the Baron, which looked comical. We thought, oh no, here we go again. But actually ends up perfect because Maple takes a while to join. And as he's trying to get over the wall and using his shuriken there, is, oh, we're going to have to hold the point. There's another fight on Hanabi.
Team fight was too long. They're actually going to start yet another fight. They'll take him down, pick him off in the side lane. Still 2 minutes 20 with the Baron buff here. Big Koro has almost got a death cap finished after that play. And we talk so often about Siva, being such great insurance, being that 500 CS win condition. Kaiser is no slouch in the late game either. And all of a sudden, both these marksmen almost have 4 completed items.
Definitely this game has escalated very quickly. First in one direction towards Fengvu Buffalo, then back for the Flash Wolves. Remember, Fengvu Buffalo are playing for pride against the LMS, whereas Flash Wolves are playing to get out of the group. They will not be eliminated with a loss, but there would be a tiebreaker with the loser of our next game between G2 and the Afrika Freaks. So no eliminations this game from Flash Wolves, but losing to Fengvu Buffalo is not what they intended.
No, and the deal gets sweeter for them as well. Not only do they guarantee themselves a spot in the quarterfinals, they get to play a tiebreaker for first in their group, potentially knocking Afrika Freaks or G2 into that second seed spot. So this win is very big for the Flash Wolves in more ways than one. And all of a sudden, Fengvu Buffalo have retaken control.
And now, because they have Baron, there's not going to be single members chilling the side lane for the Maple to come and kill on the Akali. Now you have to navigate huge, beefy front line with strong CC and a Kai'Sa who's on the cusp of 4 items and a death cap. Baron buff for 1 more minute. Look at this Baron buff power play, almost 5,000 gold with still a minute remaining. Unless Fengvu Buffalo allow themselves to be flanked by Maple, something that did not actually help out in that Baron buff play, this could be a huge upset victory for Fengvu Buffalo.
And I don't think they're going to be all that shy about starting some sort of fight either. Only 40 seconds left on the Baron, so looks like the inhibitor turrets will stay up for Flash Wolves, but there is a Drake to potentially pick off if they want it. They will stay sieging for now.
Pushing up still, want to use this last minion wave. We'll probably back away. Very swiftly though, just wanted to get any turret damage they could. Ended up being just incidental. Kai'Sa goes back, has a death cap. And the stopwatch is the smart buy on top of that. Banshee Veil, very nice mainline item because it's AP Kai'Sa, not a Stormrazor Kai'Sa. A stopwatch and potentially a Guardian Angel or Zonia's, depending on what you're feeling. In this case, probably going to be the Zonia's most likely. As will the Camille actually get out here? Ooh. Axe misses.
Mugen had to get. Oh, guesses wrong. Everyone around the corner. Mugen finally found him. Suha now going to flip back over the top, but he's got no teammates at all. Just trying to buy some time. Do what he can. Flips back over the wall. Nope, can't do it. Mugen does pick him up.
Bit of yakety sacks there when it came to the escape.
Instant assist pings into the Nexus though for Flash Wolves.
They're just going mid and trying to make this about finding a catch as PVB are in fallback macro. The Nexus might be too much, but the inhibitor is possible.
Xerath is pushing. This is a 3v5 defense for Fengvu Buffalo. Xerath's finally recalling now, but they're going to lose this mid inhib.
Cancel his back.
Xerath is staying.
He's going to end the game.
I mean, PvP have to try something. This inhibitor is dead. Flatros will back away now, so the game won't end.
It actually ends up being pretty smart by Xerath because the minion wave was so far back, only 3 ranged minions there, baited into thinking the game could end.
They
but Xerath's going to stay on this one. Can he kill it fast enough?
No, they can't quite. Hanabi, though, is not going to be able to defend this. Who's up next? Looks like everyone's respawning, so Xerath is going to have to back out of there, and he is getting ultra flanked by the Flash Wolves.
I think it's time to start going the real yakety sax way through the bot lane inhibitor because there's a lot of enemies coming.
Warden and Umbral Dash back into the enemy base. The only way out is through hell and back here for Xerath. Going to keep fighting it out. He's going to try and get the chain onto Betty, but it doesn't quite finish off. The rest of his team's here, though. Maybe it's time to find a fight. Suha's respawned. Here's Scion charging in. Null is going to be tanking up Maple, but he runs away from his teammates. Now going to go back in onto the Camille. Xerath's getting low. He's trying to fight Mugen, but Mugen's pretty low. On the other side, Null and Suha trying to fight it out of there. PVB somehow finding their way back together, and there's the flash here. They're going to try and pick up a kill. They need to get Betty, but they don't quite have enough. The Sivir barely misses on the Camille, but Big Koro just can't do any damage right now. He's kiting. The whole team is kiting here for the Fengfu Buffalo. As Noel looking to try and outplay Mujin, but he's got too many enemies in the neighborhood. Really good stopwatch. The fight's still going on the backside as Hanabi is forced to flash out over to the red buff. Sword Art over the other side, misses that taunt, puts up the red, pops the GA. Zeros so re-engages. I think PVB, they actually may have found the fight here. Big Koro with a clutch stasis as the rest of the team piles in, and that's going to be a wipe. Flash Wolves lose almost everyone in the back end of the team fight as Maple now pops his own stopwatch. W is going to land, Maple's going to die. Fengfu Buffalo win and win hard in this exchange.
Zeros is just unkillable. This is the guy we heard about in the scrims, bossing around the 1v1. He had so many items. He had a 150 CS lead coming into the fight. They don't have a minion wave. Can they end though? The death timers are so long.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Losing a turret, they actually lost it just then to minions in the bot lane. Inhib exposed in top, but it's so dangerous to try and take. As Zeros is back, he's going to clean out these minion waves. That team fight covered a third of Summoner's Rift, it felt like.
It covered about the maximum capacity of your lungs as well. It was so long, Pastry Time, because Flash Wolf's strategy was, if we run at them, we can isolate some of the lambs away from the herd and be able to actually find people and not make it 5v5 and dominated by the big AoE taunts and AoE CC. There was fights at the top. That's why Galio had to ult so early. Just get the hell away from the Akali. The Guardian Angel should have been lost super early on Shuhao, but at this point, when it seems to be multiple different engagements, you think it's going to be defined by Maple, going to be defined by the cleanup on the side of the Flash Wolves, and for the early part it was. And then, with his Death Stance, with all of his gold, it became increasingly clear that Zeros was never going to die. This re-engage as he comes in, and the W is massive. Speaking of engagements,
Bilgo and Sword Art going to be the target. There's the Galio ulti charging down. They take it down. Insta 5v4 for the Fengfu Buffalo.
That's the Goomba Stomp that gets them the Shen dead, but Shen is dead for 40 seconds and can rejoin with the ultimate. They're straight onto Baron. Flash Wolves don't want to give this up for free.
They can rejoin, but not in time for this objective. What is the play here for Flash Wolves? They cannot get this Baron with a jungler nowhere near the objective. Mujin going to get tied up by Zeros, going to be forced to burn the Ragnarok. Topside there, Hanabi dead. Big Koro on a rampage as PVB keep picking up kills.
This could just be the game ending in a single passage. Hanabi is dead. They have the Baron buff. Huge, insanely massive minion wave in the top side, but I think you ignore minion waves and you mainline the base.
They're going to go for it here. 40 seconds still in Hanabi. Sorta up in 5 seconds.
They need to use their health bars and not the minions take down this first turret.
First turret is going to die though here, but again the wave is building. It already took down a turret in top lane, but the inhib is dead. Fengfu Buffalo looking to crush some dreams here.
I know that they can do it. Because they don't have enough minions, they have to back away for a moment. Respawn on Hanabi's 20 seconds. Zeros continues to slam.
Fearless though. As the inhib goes down, Zeros zones him out of the way as they finish off 2 inhibs.
All right, they're going to recall the minion wave. Will they be able to kill the inhibitor in time? We're going to see in a moment. So many minions, but crucially, only one cannon minion means they actually have the reprieve to keep up that turret. But Pastry Time, we're going to keep going. No drink breaks available.
No.
This game extends.
There's a satisfying tactical sweep there for the Camille as it takes down about 2/3 of that wave and keeps the inhibitor turret alive in the top lane for Fengfu Buffalo. Again, have to reiterate how much is on the line in this game for Flash Wolves. They are guaranteed a shot at first in this group, and at minimum, a quarterfinals appearance as the second seed if they win here. And Fengfu Buffalo playing for nothing but their personal pride and their region in the VCS could ruin almost everything here for the Wolves.
Some of the greatest moments in history were built based on an argument of pride, so pride can be oh so important for the first ever VCS team to make it seeded into Worlds. This would definitely be the feel-good story for them. For the Flash Wolves fans, this is supposed to be the walkover. It's far from that as the Elder Drake.
Good by Elder Dragon. Now starting to charge in, but I think PVB to turn around for the team fight here. Zeros again, rampaging through the backline. Hanabi's dead already. That's the combo. Heroic actions for the Galio. Charging it all in, and Big Koro will not be stopped. Hanabi in zombie form is going to die as Nort buys time against Maple. Pallet now going to slow Mujin, who does not have Ragnarok available. PVB, they get the dragon, they get 2 kills as well.
That's exactly what we expected when we were looking at this scenario. 5v5's a bridge too far. Every W's basically a nuke on the side there, as with the minion waves coming in, this could be the end.
Maple was forced to TP back to his own base from the topside river.
Well, here's the base. You sure you can keep it up?
Let's find out here. Maple is just getting shredded down by the Winter 4 and the Elder Dragon buff. Fengfu Buffalo, they want a second win here at Worlds. They want the upset. Maple, he finds the outplay, but the next is exposed. A big card. He's just gonna rip it to shreds. The upset is there, and the Flash Wolf get destroyed at the end by that man there.
And this is the sort of pride that gets you in those big moments and allows you to take down giants. Genji yesterday couldn't do the favor for Team Vitality, but on this day, Fengfu Buffalo, who are now eliminated from Worlds, will play no further part, but will know they made a memorable contribution. Flash Wolves now have to play for just a chance at getting out of groups when it looked oh so easy at the start of the day.
They picked safe, they played safe, they tried to find something stable, and Fengfu Buffalo just kept going until cracks started to show. If you're gonna go out in style, Piper Smithy. And this is a well-deserved bow from the Fengfu Buffalo as they exit in just that.
Bexco in Busan erupts for the Fengfu Buffalo. Definitely adored by the Korean crowd. Flash Wolves, they'll put on their jackets, they'll nervously watch on and find out whether it will be G2 or a Freak of Freaks that they will face in the final game. And that even spices up